1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
Come on, come on, come on.
All right, 25 minutes before 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Tuesday morning. It's time for News Bites. This is the portion of AM Ocala Live during which Robin and I will read the news to you in abbreviated form. We get to the point, cut to the chase, and that gives you a chance to catch up on the news without spending all day trying to do so and get on with your own life. Live your own news. The first story comes from ABC News. The wife of ISIS leader Abu Bakr of al-Baghdadi has been arrested after crossing into Lebanon from Syria with fake documents, Lebanese security and military officials told ABC News. The woman, whose identity has not been officially released, was taken into custody with a child. Lebanon's As Safir newspaper, which first reported the arrest, said the wife has been detained for 10 days and questioned at Lebanon's Ministry of Defense, where investigations are ongoing. The newspaper said the arrest was made in conjunction with foreign intelligence services, describing it as a valuable catch. It's not known how many wives Baghdadi has, and there are conflicting reports as to the sex of the child. Al-Baghdadi has proclaimed himself the caliph, or ruler of all Muslims, whose group controls a vast area of northern Syria and western Iraq. The arrest comes as Lebanon grapples with how to deal with the kidnappings of more than 20 Lebanese soldiers by ISIS and the Syrian al-Qaeda-linked group Jabhat al-Nusra.
President Barack Obama, acting in the wake of unrest sparked by the shooting of a black teenager by a white police officer in Ferguson, Missouri, will ask Congress for $263 million to equip more police with body cameras and will appoint a task force to find ways to reduce crime and build public trust. The administration announced the initiatives as the president meets with members of his cabinet, civil rights leaders, and law enforcement and elected officials at the White House. They are going to address the violence and racial tension that followed the August shooting in the St. Louis suburb. Obama also is issuing an executive order directing federal agencies that supply firearms to state or local police to do so in a consistent manner and ensure that proper training is provided. This is reported by Bloomberg.
From ABC News, a gunman suspected of shooting dead 4 people at 3 different locations in West Virginia has been found dead himself with what police say appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. West Virginia State Police launched a manhunt for the suspect, 39-year-old Jody Lee Hunt, after the shooting spree. He is who we believe to be involved in the 4 fatalities at the 3 shootings, West Virginia State Police First Sergeant Jay Powers told reporters with ABC News. The shootings occurred in Monongalia County. Police said the body was located near the community of Everettville.
Several U.S. law enforcement agencies are investigating whether North Korea is behind the recent hacking of Sony Pictures' online networks and the illegal dissemination of at least 5 of the company's films. There has been speculation that the cyber attack could be linked to an upcoming Sony Pictures film called The Interview, a comedy that features a CIA plot to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The comedy, starring Seth Rogen and James Franco, is scheduled for release on December the 25th. A North Korean official blasted the film as a symbol of the desperation of American society, and he said this in an interview with The Telegraph, reported by MSNBC.
From the Associated Press, Martin Litton, a bold whitewater navigator and even bolder advocate for preserving the wildlands of the American West, has died at the age of 97. Litton had been in hospice care and died at his home in Portola Valley on Sunday, according to Allison Sheehy, programs director at Sequoia Forest Keepers, where Litton was president. Litton was active in protecting the environment until just a few days ago, he said in an email to the Associated Press. Litton fought his way to the center of some of the biggest environmental battles of the last century, fiercely opposing the damming of the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon, a fight he would win, and the building of the Diablo Canyon nuclear plant on the California coast, a fight his side would bitterly lose.
Enjoying a glass of wine after work does the same harm as drinking 3 shots of vodka. This is according to the head of the public health in England. He has warned, as he said, alcohol was becoming the silent killer of working-age Britons. Duncan Selby said that deaths from working-age people have increased by 500% since the 1970s because many people pour a glass of wine and have no idea how much they are drinking. MPs say that people are safer enjoying an alcoholic drink in their local pub as measures are controlled rather than buying large quantities of wine at rock-bottom prices in supermarkets and drinking in non-sociable atmosphere away from the communities, reported by The Telegraph.
From CBS News, 'tis the season for alarming reports on the health risks associated with your child's favorite toys. According to a new study that was published yesterday, every hour, approximately 18 children in the United States suffer toy-related injuries serious enough to send them to the emergency room. That's one child hurt every 3 minutes. The biggest culprit for those ER visits? Riding toys, especially scooters. The study published yesterday in the journal Clinical Pediatrics found ride-on toys, including scooters, wagons, tricycles, and motor-powered kiddie vehicles such as Barbie Jeeps, are responsible for a growing number of children's injuries and emergency room visits. Between 1990 and 2011, ride-on toys accounted for 35% of injuries and 43% of hospital admissions among kids younger than 18 years old.
At UPS, you might be able to pick up a different kind of package. The company began offering 3D printing services over the past couple of months, and UPS rules don't explicitly prohibit customers from using those printers to create sex toys. A UPS representative told the site that they won't allow patrons to print out items like weapons or anything that's the intellectual property of someone else. But when asked about sex toys, the rep said there's no company-wide rules against them. But since each store is individually owned, the owners of a particular store could make their own anti-erotica policy. The site also points out that there are already websites available that offer free downloadable sex toy patterns for 3D printers. Printable sex toys are nothing new, but being able to just pop by a UPS store adds a level of convenience. Pricing for the printing service depends on the size and complexity of whatever you're printing out. It is reported that an iPhone case would cost around $60, while a replica femur bone would set you back about $325, reported by the Huffington Post.
From the Associated Press, speaking at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, the church where the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. preached, U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder said yesterday that he will soon unveil long-planned Justice Department guidance aimed at ending racial profiling. Holder traveled to Atlanta to meet with law enforcement and community leaders for the first in a series of regional meetings around the country. The president asked Holder to set up the meetings in the wake of clashes between protesters and police in Ferguson, Missouri.
Amid a groundswell of international condemnation of its human rights record, North Korea has lashed out at the United States, saying protests associated with the fatal shooting of Michael Brown are proof that America is a tundra of human rights. Pyongyang's harsh criticism of race relations in the U.S. came 10 days after a UN General Assembly committee passed a resolution which for the first time seeks to refer North Korea to the International Criminal Court for human rights abuses. The condemnation also comes at a time when the upcoming release of a Sony Pictures comedy whose plot involves an attempt to assassinate Kim Jong-un has angered the regime. The studio is reported to be investigating the possibility that North Korea was behind a massive cyber attack on its computer network last week, reported by CNS.
And I guess we don't have enough time. Let me just move forward. We've got to take a little break on a weather forecast as well as a couple of commercial spots, and then we will be back with more News Bites. Remember, we do this each weekday morning from 8:35 till 9 as a way to bring you a whole load of news in a short period of time so that you can get on with your life and live your own news. We'll be right back.
Experience Christmas at Gaylord Palms, November 15th through January 4th with Ice, featuring the Nutcracker. Relive your favorite scenes from the classic ballet, hand-carved in more than 2 million pounds of ice sculptures and slides. Enjoy a special bonus area, the Frostbite Factory, and watch artisans from Harbin, China carve amazing ice sculptures before your eyes. Your awe-inspiring experience concludes with the wonder of the Nativity in Ice. For tickets and packages, visit christmas@gaylordpalms.com.
Now is the time to go to your local Kubota dealer, where you can get a great deal on a new Kubota RTV during Kubota's Gear Up and Go sales event. Thinking about a new utility vehicle? Why not choose the top-selling diesels in the U.S. for the past 10 years? The flagship Kubota RTV X1100 combines styling with features like a premium all-weather grand cab, extra-duty independent rear suspension, and power steering. Right now, get your own Kubota RTV X Series for 0 down and 0% financing for up to 48 months. So for a great deal, think orange at the Kubota Gear Up and Go sales event. For more information or to find a participating dealer, go to KubotaDealersOfFlorida.com.
0 down, 0% APR financing for terms up to 48 months on selected equipment now through December 31st, 2014. Not available for rental national accounts or government customers. 0% APR low rate financing not available with instant rebate offers. Financing available through Kubota Credit Corporation USA subject to credit approval. Other exceptions may apply. For more information, call toll free 1-888-465-8268.
Keep up with what's going on in the downtown area with Ocala Downtown Newspaper. Delivering thousands of newspapers to businesses in the downtown area, Ocala Downtown is there to keep you informed. They even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about it. It's simple. For more info, just call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223, and pick up your copy of the Downtown Ocala newspaper today.
Now read Ocala Downtown Newspaper online.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, clouds and some sunshine with a brief shower or two around, the high between 75 and 79. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. There can be a shower along the coast during the evening hours, low 58 in a few inland spots, 66 along the coast. More sun than clouds tomorrow, but again, there can be a shower or two right at the coast, the high 76 to 80. And on Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy, high 76 to 80. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
All right, 12 minutes before 9 o'clock. Let's continue with News Bites. The next story is on the lighter side, I guess you would say. Epcot's holiday candlelight processional tradition continues at Walt Disney World on select dates throughout the month of December. The show is a retelling of the Christmas story by a celebrity narrator with seasonal songs performed by a live choir and orchestra. Shows take place each day at 5 p.m., 6:45 p.m., and 8:15 p.m., with the exception of December 7th, when shows will take place at 6:45 and 8:15 p.m. only. Actress Jodie Benson, who voiced Ariel in The Little Mermaid, kicked off the celebrity lineup on Friday and Saturday. Actor Neil Patrick Harris read the Christmas story narrative on Sunday, as well as yesterday, and will do so again this evening. Tomorrow and Thursday, December 3rd and 4th, Jonathan Grott is the celebrity narrator. The rest of the celebrity readers are Whoopi Goldberg, December 5th and 6th, LeVar Burton on the 7th through the 9th, Edward James Olmos, December 10th through the 14th, Cheetah Rivera, December 15th through 17th, Anna Gasteyer, December 18th through the 20th, Marlee Matlin, December 21st and through the 23rd, Isabella Rossellini, December 24th and Christmas Day, Blair Underwood, December 26th through the 27th, and Stephen Curtis Chapman, December 28th through the 30th.
Exceptional efforts to respond to the Ebola outbreak in West Africa are starting to show results, but a more nimble and flexible approach will be needed as the outbreak evolves in order to stay ahead of the disease and bring it down to zero. There has been an extraordinary response to the Ebola crisis. This is a quote from UN Special Envoy on Ebola, Dr. David Nabarro. His quote continues, "The whole world has taken notice and we are starting to see results," reported by UN News.
From from the Associated Press, airstrikes hit a warehouse in a western Libyan city this morning, killing 4 people and wounding 15 in a strike one official said destroyed foodstuffs, but a rival army spokesman said targeted a weapons depot used by terrorists. Hafez Moammar, spokesman for a security body in the Mediterranean city of Zawara, 70 miles west of Tripoli, said the warplanes bombed a warehouse holding food as well as a chemicals factory. 3 of the dead were foreign nationals, he added, without specifying from which countries. He said the warplanes were operating under Khalifa Hifter, a former army general who last spring unilaterally led an offensive against Islamist militias in the eastern city of Benghazi. On October 15th, Hifter and the elected government joined ranks against Islamist militias.
U.S. stocks declined, sending benchmark indexes lower for a second day as weaker economic data in China and fewer shoppers seeing Black Friday sales overshadowed an expansion in American factory output. Retailers in the Standard & Poor's 500 index fell the most in a month as post-Thanksgiving holiday sales came in weaker than forecast. Apple fell as much as 6 4/10%, the most since January in early trading before paring half the loss. Chevron and ExxonMobil gained more than 1 3/10% as crude oil ended a 4-day skid, even as energy companies in the benchmark gauge fell 0.8%, reported by Bloomberg.
And from the Washington Times, responding to pressure from civil rights groups over the police shooting of an unarmed black teenager in Ferguson, Missouri, President Obama yesterday proposed a $263 million pilot program to outfit police with body cameras and took steps to curb local police departments' access to military-style equipment. The president ordered his advisors to draft an executive order that will instruct the Justice Department and other federal agencies to work with civil rights groups, civil liberty advocates, and law enforcement agencies to develop recommendations for reining in police departments within 120 days.
The United States and Turkey are closing in on a deal that will allow the U.S. military and allied forces to use Turkish air bases in their campaign against Islamic State fighters in Syria. This was reported yesterday. U.S. and Turkish officials said the agreement could include a safe zone along a portion of the Syrian border to protect refugees and certain opposition forces that would also be off limits to aircraft from Syrian President Bashar Assad's government. Allowing the United States and its allies to use Turkey's bases would allow the coalition forces another foothold from which to launch continued strikes against the militants, reported by the Jerusalem Post.
And from Fox News, Republican congressional aide Elizabeth Lawton resigned yesterday morning after making controversial comments about President Obama's teenage daughters. Lawton, the communications director for Representative Stephen Fincher of Tennessee, had posted on Facebook about their casual demeanor during last week's annual White House turkey pardon. She wrote that Sasha, who is 13 years old, and Malia, who is 16 years old, should, quote, try showing a little class, unquote. Another quote, rise to the occasion, dress like you deserve respect, not a spot at the bar, unquote. And certainly don't make faces during televised public events, unquote. She resigned.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. HIV is evolving to become less deadly and less infectious, according to a major scientific study. The team at the University of Oxford shows the virus is being watered down as it adapts to our immune systems. The study said it was taking longer for HIV infection to cause AIDS, and that the changes in the virus may help efforts to contain the pandemic. Some virologists suggest the virus may eventually become almost harmless as it does continue to evolve. More than 35 million people around the world are infected with HIV, and inside their bodies, a devastating battle takes place between the immune system and the virus, reported by the BBC.
And from ABC News, Kathy Griffin was confirmed as the new host of Fashion Police, taking over the show on the E! Network for her friend Joan Rivers, who died in September. Joining Griffin will be Kelly Osbourne and Juliana Rancic and newcomer Brad Goreski, star of It's a Brad World. These are some big shoes I'm going to fill. Joan was truly one of a kind, Griffin said in a news release. Now I hope you will accept me for me. I'm just Kathy. Did I say just Kathy? I mean, I'm Kathy expletive Griffin, and you celebrities better snap yourself in, as I'm taking no prisoners.
The U.S. Supreme Court appeared conflicted yesterday over whether to uphold the conviction of a Pennsylvania man found guilty of making threatening statements to his estranged wife. The 9 justices heard a 1-hour oral argument in an appeal filed by Anthony Alonis, who posted a series of statements on Facebook in 2010, soon after his wife left him. The legal question is whether prosecutors needed to show Alonis' intent to threaten, or if it was enough for them to show that a reasonable person would have felt threatened. In weighing Alonis' comments, which were made in the form of rap lyrics, some justices appeared concerned about a broad range of speech being criminalized, including ill-advised remarks by teenagers on social media and songs by rap artists such as Eminem, known for violent imagery in their lyrics, reported by Reuters.
And from CNN, the latest Ferguson confrontation is not taking place on the streets of the beleaguered city, but between the St. Louis County Police Department and the St. Louis Rams over an apology or a lack thereof. The brouhaha started silently when 5 Rams players took to the field Sunday with their palms in the air, showing the hands up, don't shoot gesture used by protesters decrying the police shooting death of unarmed black teen Michael Brown. The St. Louis Police Officers Association was furious, saying the players chose to ignore the mountains of evidence released from the St. Louis County grand jury after the jurors decided not to indict former Ferguson officer Darren Wilson. A Rams official spoke with police yesterday, and that's when the he said started. St. Louis County Police Chief John Belmar sent an email to his staff saying the Rams chief operating officer called him Monday to apologize. Quote, I received a very nice call this morning from Mr. Kevin Demoff of the St. Louis Rams, who wanted to take the opportunity to apologize to our department on behalf of the Rams for the hands-up gesture that some players took the field with yesterday, Belmar wrote in the email, according to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. But the Rams said that's just not true. We did not apologize, Rams spokesman Artis Twyman told CNN. The team issued a statement saying the organization had positive discussions Monday with Belmar and other police officers, during which we expressed our respect for their concerns and surrounding yesterday's game.
The World Food Program has been forced to suspend a critical food aid scheme for more than 1.6 million Syrian refugees because of a funding crises. The UN agency said the program gave refugees in Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, Iraq, and Egypt vouchers to buy food. Without this assistance, many families would go hungry this winter. The WFP's executive director, Ersaran Kuzan, said it was in critical need of funding, with $64 million required to support refugees in December alone, reported by the BBC.
And from the Reuters news agency, security researchers say they have uncovered a cyber espionage ring focused on stealing corporate secrets for the purpose of gaming the stock market in an operation that has compromised sensitive data about dozens of publicly held companies. Cybersecurity firm FireEye Inc., which disclosed the operation on Monday, said that since the middle of last year, the group has attacked email accounts at more than 100 firms, most of them pharmaceutical and healthcare companies. Victims also include firms in other sectors, as well as corporate advisors, including investment bankers, attorneys, and investor relations firms, according to FireEye.
Christina Figueres, the executive secretary of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, warned in her opening address earlier this morning to the 20th session of the Conference of the Parties and to the landmark treaty that the international community must write history on climate action and build momentum towards a new universal agreement to be adopted in 2015. She said that 2014 is likely to be the hottest year on record, and emissions continue to rise. We must act with urgency, reported by UN News.
From CNN, soccer legend Pele remained in an intensive care unit yesterday, a week after he was hospitalized with a urinary tract infection. The 74-year-old has no fever and is receiving antibiotics intravenously, according to doctors at the Albert Einstein Hospital in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And that's all the time we have for News Bites. We have to move forward. Carol Ann Baldwin is up next with In the Garden with Carol Ann. How many stories today, Robin?
26 stories.
All right, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Close family members of one of the world's most wanted terrorists may be in custody.
One of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's wives has been detained in Lebanon, according to local reports, possibly along with one of his children. They're said to have been taken in around 10 days ago, a Lebanese newspaper saying it was done with help from foreign intelligence services. There's no confirmation of the reports yet.
Fox Radio's Simon Owen. In Kenya, the interior minister fired, the police chief resigned after an attack by Islamic extremists from Somalia.
According to eyewitnesses, 50 gunmen rounded up miners and asked them to recite Islamic religious verses. The 36 who couldn't were reportedly told to lie on the ground and were shot in the back of the head.
Fox News Radio's Paul Tilsley. And home prices here at home accelerating in October at a faster year-over-year pace than September, ending a 7-month slowdown. Fox News. We report, you decide.
It's Secret Santa time, and you drew Carl. He loves kitten videos, talking about kittens, and drives a tiny car that looks like one. Carl needs to man up, so get him a quality 7-piece Evercraft combination wrench set at Napa for only $9.99. $9.99 for wrenches to take those ridiculous kitten ears off his car. Hopefully. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 12/31/14.
Pete's Parrot Emporium.
Pete? Pete?
How may I help you?
Help! Help!
Be quiet.
Quiet! Quiet! Quiet!
Silence.
Silence!
If only everything in business was as easy as Wix. Wix's drag-and-drop website builder makes it simple to create your stunning website yourself. Just choose a design from hundreds of beautiful Wix templates and customize it however you want. Go to Wix.com today. It's easy and free.
Wix.com.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Hey, it's Christy with Ocala Mac and PC Repair and Ocala Guest Wi-Fi to let you know we have you covered. We are the only local certified Apple and Microsoft computer company in Ocala. We are family owned and operated. From mobile repair to wireless networks, viruses, new systems, or security cameras, we do it all. Check us out online, ocalamacpc.com, or give us a call, 352-566-8324.